but here, I'll just hold on. I'll give you guys a little exclusive here. It's the stuff that no one else sees. Here's a little picture of me and George and Mariana and Alessandro, who illustrated your Big Ben shirt. Yeah, there it is, from one of the earliest Astronomicons. And I keep this
wow.
right my desk. Yeah. This is at the concert, and that just is just a little reminder. Sorry, here you
Yeah.
go. But there's the photo right there. Just a little Polaroid that just reminds me of those days. Keep
That's
that.
awesome.
It's just literally, I mean, you can see it's arm's length. It's right in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for the opportunities George gave me, and just to have him in my circle, man. It's good dude.
Yeah, it's crazy his looks over the years too, because I have like memories with pictures with him and stuff. And as it progressively gets older, he just huge change. Almost every picture he looks totally different.
He's like phases of the moon.
Yeah,
Right? You know, he had the samurai bun, then this, then that, but no, super good dude, man. I've really valued my personal professional relationship with him. And he's one of those guys, I may not see him in 6 months, talk to him in 6 months, we can pick up right where we left off because we're both as busy, man. And again, just the continued success he's had has been very, very well earned. Very well earned.
for sure. Now, getting off topic, but is there anything new that you're bringing aspect to Source Point Press?
Yeah, again, I think the biggest thing that I'm going to be doing with the publisher, and people can go to sourcepointpress.com, they can see our first lineup of books, but also our first number of creators. I really am trying to make SourcePoint a very creator-driven publisher. So when you look at our website, you'll see like the books in like a scroll across the front of the page, but past that, we list our books by creator. So I'm not going to list London After Midnight, and then Nightmare World, and then I'm not going to turn around and list. Here, I'm going to grab another one here, like Tales of Mystery. I'm going to say Dirk Manning. Here's his books. Joshua Ross. Here's his book. Dr. Christy Blanche. Here's her books. Corinne Roberts. Here's her books.
Basically have a dictionary on everybody in the press.
What's that?
Basically like a dictionary of every person. Yeah.
Right. And then when you open their when you open their author picture, you click down, you get a drop down of all their books are. Right. That's what I'm more interested in doing, is I want us to be about the creators rather than the titles. When you go to a bookstore, a normal bookstore, oftentimes you're looking for what's the new book by Joe Hill, what's the new book by Harlan Ellison, what's the new book by Stephen King, right? And again, I'm talking to you in a room surrounded by a lot of books in here and stuff like that, and again, that's just kind of where we want to sit with it. I want you to know, oh, this is the new Joshua Ross book, this is the new Austin McKinley book, this is the new John Dexter book, right? What books does this person that created stuff I like, what are they connected to? And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'm bringing to the publisher that's maybe a little bit of a change, is we really want to be creator driven rather than title driven.
You think that'll have a huge impact?
I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping because, again, let's take a guy like Joshua Ross as a perfect example. He was the illustrator on London After Midnight. He's done stuff in Tales of Mystery. He illustrated the book with Josh Malerman, who wrote Bird Box. But then when he puts out his own creator-owned book, even though it may be like a creative nonfiction memoir, I want people to know, oh God, I really loved his illustrations on these things. I'm going to give it a chance. Then when he does his book after that, Divinity Calls Shotgun, which is like this crazy, wild, like surreal road trip book, I want people to know that's the next Joshua Ross book. Z.M. Thomas did a book that we have coming out later this year called The Bible 2. and the cover is Jesus on a unicorn holding machine guns. It's ridiculous, right? It's crazy, but it's fun, and it's irreverent, but it's respectful. It's just this ridiculously hilarious book. You may have seen the meme of the cover. People don't even know it's actually based on his book. Well, his book after that is going to be a straight-up body horror book called The Biotic Crisis. You may not ever associate the Bible too in The Biotic Crisis as being the same guy, right? But I want people to see Z.M. Thomas. Here's his books, and that's one of them. So that's where I think that's going to make a real big impact. That's my hope anyway.
So I have a question for you. It might sound a little off kiltered, but it's not. Have you ever had a project that you kind of look back at and wish, hey, I wish I could have done this with it instead of the route that you went with one, or do you have something that you wish that you could have done differently?
That's a great question. I try to really focus on playing the cards that I'm dealt and being grateful for what I have. I've said no to more things in my career than I've said yes to. And there's a couple times maybe I wish I would have said yes. I was offered for my books to be on Comixology at the launch of Comixology. Oops. I said no, right? Oops. Maybe I'd be living on an island right now or something. Who knew instead, but there's been opportunities to turn the books into movies and things like that. I don't chase that opportunity as hard as I think a lot of people would. I've had Steven Spielberg look at one of my books, right? There's part of me that's like, man, I should chase those opportunities harder. But I've seen people fall down that rabbit hole of just trying to get their books turned into movies and then they're not making any more books. To me, if you want to make a movie based on my book, option it and go do it. And then invite me to the premiere. That's just where I sit. I know a lot of people romanticize having their book turned into a movie, and having your book turned into a movie can do huge things for your career. And I totally get that. I know writers that live off the options forever. They just keep re-optioning. Parts of me are like,
be a bad thing too.
What's that?
It could also be a bad thing too.
Well, they fall down that hole and then they're just living off of that. I'm more interested in, I got into writing, and this kind of goes full circle what we talked about earlier, right? I got into writing because I want to write books. I want to create books. I want them to be out there and I want them to exist. I didn't get into this to make movies. I got into this to make graphic novels. I got into this to make comics. That's what I love. That's what I'm interested in. But there's parts of me sometimes like, man, maybe I should have chased that one a little bit harder. But at the end of the day, anytime I'm spending chasing something is time I'm not spending making something. I think the one project that I really wish would have unfolded differently, right before Stan Lee passed, I was hired to adapt one of his old horror stories as a graphic novel. And when I got the contract from Stan Lee's people to do this and signed it, the first thing I did is I sent it to my folks. And I said, if the earth swallows me tomorrow, I want you to know today that your son signed a contract to do a book with Stan Lee. And it's about a quarter to a half written. And then what happened with Stan happened, the whole, I don't want to say kidnapping, but the whole rigmarole that happened at the end of his life. And he ended up passing. And the question then became, do we finish the book anyway? And Travis McIntyre at Source Point Press, who was going to put out the book, him and I talked about it. And he said, if we finish this project, we're going to look like we're exploiting not only a very beloved person in the comic industry and in the world of pop culture, but also we're exploiting him after he had some really shady things going on at the end of his life. Travis was right. Right. I didn't want to look like, oh, by the way, we know Stan Lee just had all those terrible things happen. They died. But here's his new horror book. Right.
Right. You don't want to be that guy.
I want to be that guy. But man, I wish that would have worked out a little bit differently at the same time, where maybe we all just could have paused for a year or something and maybe put it out as a sign of respect. But there were a lot of players involved and a lot of people had different agendas too. There were people that maybe would argue, well, you got to put it out right away and monopolize and take the momentum of the fact that he just passed. That's not the route we went. As a result, I never got to finish the Stan Lee horror graphic novel that he had. He had an idea for a couple old horror graphic novels, and it would have been a really cool thing to put that out. You know,
You gonna finish it? You think sometime? Maybe put your own twist on the end of it?
No, because to do that, I would be taking Stan's idea. One, I would be taking Stan's idea and trying to pass it off as my own. And two, that ship has sailed in regards to working with those people at that time. But it would have been really cool, man. But then again, I can't complain because I didn't get to do the Stan Lee book, but I was offered to do a Stan Lee book. I have a partially written Stan Lee graphic novel based on idea by Stan Lee, right? But at the same time, man, I got to work with Twisted on 2 graphic novels so far. I've got to work with the Cheney Entertainment and bring back London After Midnight. You know, again, this is going to be in comic stores in January now. I've got to work with Tony Schiavone. I've got to work with the Harp Twins. I got to work with Arn Anderson. I got to work with Josh Mallerman, who wrote Bird Box. I've gotten to do so many cool things. I tried to focus on the misses, right? Because that's the stuff that'll eat you up. And I try to just be very grateful for the opportunities I have had.
Yeah, the ones you have taken definitely outshine the ones that you missed out on.
I appreciate that, man. And that's exactly it. You know, it was my ego talking when it said, no, let's push the Stan Lee thing through. That was my ego talking, right? I'm like, no, that's not the right call, man. And I recentered myself pretty quickly, but there was that minute like, are you sure we don't want to maybe just do this real quick and just get it out? If like, no, I'm not going to monopolize on the fact that this icon just passed away. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it for a minute. You know, but ultimately, I think the judge of a person is not how they deal with that temptation; it's how they reconcile it, right? You know, and it was just a situation where I'm like, this is not the right thing. I'm going to back out. I'm going to pull back on this because this is not the right way to do this. It would have been cool. At least I know I still have the contract. It's proof, right? I got to check that box. So it was an honor to be nominated, right?
Just having that contract right there, that says it all. That's most people don't even get that. You know,
Right.
There was something that I actually saw a few years ago, and it was on Pawn Stars. They
Mm-hmm.
actually had a signed copy of the original drawings of Spider-Man that had Stan Lee's
Oh,
signatures on them. And they
yeah.
actually had to go authenticate them. And this was right before Stan Lee passed away, and he was doing a signing, and he actually authenticated them right there on the show for them.
Right. And that's the thing, man. Like I said, it's an honor to be nominated, you know, and to have that opportunity. And I don't get any extra validation from publishing the book as I did being offered the book, if that makes sense. I
Yeah,
know, I don't mean to sound cocky, but I know I can write. I know the book would have been what it would have been. It would have been a Dirk Manning book based on a Stanley idea. Cool. You know, instead, now that we're here, it's more about me just taking all these experiences and paying that forward to other creators as well, and really focusing on not only my own work, which I know we'll be talking about my own work in a separate interview in a little bit, but just also just focusing on Source Point Press, right? I've been at this game 23 years, man, and now if I have this opportunity to do this and to use my expertise to help other creators get their books out there as well, my peers, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to focus on. And only once in a while do I look up at the sky and think, man, what if that book would have came out? Would that have changed the trajectory of my career? And maybe it would have. But then I wouldn't be here talking to you guys about Source Point Press, which is something that feeds my soul and my heart a lot more than having that book out would have, quite frankly.
As long as you're happy doing what you're doing in life, then it never feels like work. And that's what counts.
That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. I'm so fortunate to be in this position. Kind of coming full circle, right? I never anticipated or pursued a job like this, but having it, I'm really excited and really happy about the things that we can now do with this to help other people. And every decision, good and bad, and every mistake I've made and every victory that I've had has led me to this moment. And once you come to terms with that, the fact that I've made personal mistakes, I've made professional mistakes, I've stumbled on things, I've all those things though have led me here. And now if I have this opportunity to help other creators get their books out there, get into Lunar, get into Amazon and things like that, I'm not going to say it makes it all worth it, but I don't want to think about what if, because what if could have made it that I wouldn't be in the position I am now to help other people. And that's what's most important to me, paying it forward, helping other people out. That's very core to who I am as a person. And if I have this opportunity to do that now through Source by Press, that's what I want to do.
What would the young you say if you went back and told the young you that you were going to be in this position later in life?
Never would have believed it, brother. Never would have believed it. I know we're going to get into a break point here, but I'll say this as we start to wrap this part up. The Dirk Manning avatar, right? The picture of the guy in the top hat and the scarf, I kind of alluded to this earlier, was inspired by this image of Lon Chaney from London After Midnight, right? 23 years later, I brought this lost film that hasn't been seen in 100 years to life as a graphic novel. Back to life, right? If you would have told me that would be where I would be when I picked out that image of the guy with the top hat and the scarf, right? I never would have believed it. If you would have told me that even 5 or 6 years ago, when there was parts of my life and career that weren't that great, that I would now be in a position where I can help other creators get their work out there, I never would have believed it. When I started my first comic book, Nightmare World, man, if you would have told me that this book would go on to create this, huge omnibus collection and inspire so many other creators and still be a book that I sell at every signing I do, I sell copies of Nightmare World. And this book has been reprinted by more publishers than almost any other comic book in the world, right? Which is a weird flex, but still, I wouldn't have believed any of it. But if my younger self came to me and said, hey, this is where you're going to be later, but there's going to be a lot of heartache, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of work, a lot of pain. You're going to lose friendships, but you're going to gain friendships, right? You're going to be real proud at times. You're going to be really embarrassed at times. You're going to feel love. You're going to feel loss. To be in this position now, and I'll say this, and I'll close out on this right now. I would do it. I would do it. I would do it just to have this opportunity to pay it forward to so many other creators. And I know I would do it. Even if you laid out everything, even if you laid out all the good, the bad, the ugly, I would do it and said, yeah, you're not going to get the Stan Lee book, but you're going to get this. These things are going to happen, but you're going to get the, if I knew that these were the exact steps I had to take to get to this place again, brother, I would do it.
You follow the exact road, right?
Yeah, I would follow the exact road because now I'm an opportunity to help other people out. And tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Absolutely.
And that's that. That's that. Drop the mic. That's all I got to say about that. So
Pipe bomb.
yeah, exactly. Looking up at a picture, my signed picture of CM Punk up there too when I met him, and that's it. That's the pipe bomb.
Boo.
Boom.
Let's go, Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Oh, hey, he's a workhorse, man. I get that. That's cool, but nah.
He's an Iowa boy. I gotta somewhat root for him.
No, that's fair. Seth is a beast, man. Seth is a beast. I gotta give you that. But
for sure.
But yeah, but if that works, I'll tell you what. If I can go shake it off real quick here, and then be back for 7, does that work for you guys?
Yeah.
Awesome. What I'll do then is, and we can talk about that Tales Mystery Kickstarter. I'm even going to change. What I'll do is, are we going to use the same link?
Oh, it'll be a different link.
Okay. I'll put my new heading in and stuff. I'll put the Tales Mystery thing in there. This is the link to the Kickstarter. I'll put it in here so you guys can see it. TalesMystery.com. That's where the Kickstarter is and stuff like that. You go take a peek at that. And you can pull any images off of there if you want or whatever, share that screen. And then I'll be back. It's right before 7 o'clock. We'll rock and roll. But I'll send me the new link on Facebook. I'm going to go bathroom and stuff real quick. And then I'll be back like at 6:55 right in there if that works. And we'll get ready for round 2.
Sounds good, bro.
Appreciate you guys so much, man. Thank you. We'll hit round 2 in a minute.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Yeah. I don't need a fucking outro.